Why do couples fight? Being in a relationship is like being on a seesaw. So you're constantly balancing the weight of the other person. So if one of you doesn't have a job, the other one has to make money, right? If one of you is messy, the other one has to clean the house. And if one of you is too passive, the other one has to stand up for the both of you or be more assertive. So that's why opposites attract. That person who is your opposite has something to teach you. And you're attracted to them because they have qualities that you don't have. They complete you because they are the other missing half of you. Now, with that said, that's why couples fight. Fighting is not fighting. Fighting is balancing. So, for example, Annie is too emotional. Her partner Barbara is too unemotional. So when they're fighting, Annie is trying to force Barbara to be more emotional, so to come up, But Barbara is trying to force Annie to be less emotional, to come down. And then when they level out, when they stop fighting, and they can have a mutually enjoyable time together, when they're even, when one's not too emotional, the other's not too unemotional. Okay, but when they're imbalanced, they have to teach the other one how to be more balanced. And in a relationship, you're constantly balancing the other person. So if they're up, you have to stay down. You know what I mean? And if they're down, you have to stay up. You don't really get to be in the middle until both of you learn how to balance one another. I advocate a lot of alone time away from your partner because, then you get to be yourself. You can be up, you can be down, you can be whatever, but you're not always having to balance somebody else. Now, let's talk about three-legged relationships. Now, sometimes a couple, they're either co-narcissist or they're both assholes, basically. And instead of balancing each other, they use a third party to balance out the both of them. So the two of them are on this one seesaw because they both want to be assholes, and they use somebody else to balance them. Does that make sense? So they're always enrolling other people to balance them. And so in other words, if you hang out with this couple, you're automatically recruited to be their third wheel or their third leg to balance both of them out. And many times couples will use their children to do their balancing work for them, and then the children grow up to resent their parents. Because that couple needs to hire a therapist to do that kind of work, not recruit their family, friends, or children to balance out their relationship for them. Now, Annie and Barbara wonder, why do they have this unconscious urge to keep fighting with one another? Do you notice how you just fight with your partner? How come you always have to fight with them? How come you can't just stop fighting? Well, when you want to bond or be intimate with someone, your unconscious programming is triggered. It's like a man who sees a pretty woman and immediately he wants to have sex with her. Now, he doesn't have to get her naked. He can just be a gentleman. But he has this unconscious programming that tells him, he has to do it. He has to be macho. He has to be a sexual predator. His soul wants intimacy and a partner. But his ego immediately kicks in and turns her into his victim. So you can't help it. When you genuinely want to bond with someone or to be close to them, it sort of triggers your unconscious wounds. And in your mind, the part of you that's unhealed tells you, you have to mess this up, or you have to be in control, or you have to get this money from this person, or you can't trust them, so try to manipulate the situation. And that person fights with you until you balance out and realize that this is a really imbalanced way to approach love. Barbara wants to know why Annie just has to crap it up every time they're having a good time. And she can't help it, because as soon as she wants to be intimate, her unconscious programming kicks in. And then it's Barbara's job to balance out Annie, so that they can reclaim their space which allows them to become intimate again. So as soon as they're just about to achieve intimacy, Annie swings the seesaw up and Barbara has to come crashing down, you know? If you're down all the time, you have to find someone who's equally up all the time. So that when you get together, you have this beautiful balance that makes both of you feel, here's the golden word, intimate. But when you grow and you learn how not to be so down as much, that person has to grow with you and not be up so much. And if they don't, your relationship doesn't feel as awesome because you have to rebalance just to achieve the same level of intimacy that you had before. So let's recap. Being in a relationship, just like being in a seesaw with another person, you and your partner are constantly balancing one another. If you stop balancing the other person, you can no longer be intimate with them. So thanks for watching my video. I really appreciate it. Please like or share the video. And if you need help, contact me.